Hello, everybody. This is Patrick Motes, your host for today's Commcats episode of Say It With Your Chest, where we look to answer your buzzing questions around the Augusta University area. Today on the show, I am joined by our assistant track coach and the man behind the camera of Southside Shutters, Churchill Ezeokonkwo. Church, welcome in today, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's really good to see you again. So I think the biggest thing on the block is you've had a recent project that you just did that took a really long time to do. So for those that don't know, Church has been following around the cross country team for the entire 2023 season and the 2022 season, right?
Yeah, pretty much the whole, both seasons.
Yeah, past 2 years. So, and you came out with a film called Unranked, and it was about the journey of the cross country team. So why don't you talk to me about your idea behind it and what you wanted to get out of it?
Yeah, so the idea basically started off on a whim. Honestly, like me and the head cross country and track and field coach, Jacob Bergamy, we were literally just in the office just one day, just like spitballing ideas. And he was like, hey, we should make a documentary. And, you know, I pondered the idea about it for like a couple of weeks. Like it was for so long. And then actually, the idea kind of birthed place when I saw a post from one of the actual runners on the team, Kai Berkey. Mm-hmm. So he was really, really good at storytelling. So I was inspired by that. Mm-hmm. I can say I was inspired by Kai and by Carlos Rodriguez as well. Like they did a lot of good film work as well. So, you know, as me and Bergamy were really just spitballing ideas, it kind of felt like it was something that I needed to do, but I just didn't know how to do it. But once I saw, you know, those two guys pretty much with all the film work that they were doing for the team for the past couple of years, it just felt right to do it. You know, I already had a couple of footage from like practices and some meets, you know, and I figured I could just put that together. I love storytelling, so that really, really inspired me to start that journey.
And how much time did this take? Like filming wise, editing, like all that kind of stuff?
The whole filming process, I will say, was a year and a half long. Mm-hmm. And editing wise, it took 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
Pretty much just to get all of that together.
That's crazy. Because I was sitting there watching, I was like, oh my gosh, this got to be so much editing. And like the amount of storage, how much storage did that even take?
I will say 6 terabytes. So for those that don't know, imagine if you have a PS5 and basically 3 of those.
Holy cow. That is so much storage. And I can't even, like, everything you put in there, I can't even imagine that, like, that's everything. Like, there's got to be so much more footage that just never even got used.
Oh, yeah. There is so much unused footage. Like, all the footage that I had basically took over 48 hours in total.
Are you? Like, wow.
Yeah, like literally 24 to 48 hours of footage compiled together, like nonstop.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's insane. So when you were editing this, when you were putting this all together, was there a favorite moment? It's kind of a two-part question. You have a favorite moment during this entire process?
I think finishing it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But in all honesty, I guess I wouldn't say that I had a favorite moment. I enjoyed every single part of it equally. I mean, like literally the storytelling from the beginning to the end, like it all meant something really, really special to me. Like It was all connected, you know, from the flashbacks to the present accomplishments, like everything, like even the follow-ups afterwards and the bloopers, like
those bloopers were amazing. Those were hilarious.
They were all equally special to me.
Mm-hmm. So what about in the film itself? Was there a special part of the film that you really liked the most?
I would probably say Nationals in Joplin. Mm-hmm. Nationals in Joplin is probably my favorite part of it all, because that's where everything really started to connect. Like that's where the meaning of this whole film actually fulfills its purpose. Like that's where, you know, from the beginning of the film, because I'm not going to spoil it, but that's where the beginning of the film, that flashback finally connects to the end point of it all. Like you really, really have to just watch the whole film and be like, okay, now I get exactly why they did all this. Now I get why they went through all of these practices, or why they went through all of this struggle, you know, in the process of this film.
And talk about kind of the difference between like year 1 nationals that you're with us and then year 2 from your perspective. Did you notice anything?
Yeah, I noticed a change in perspective. You know, year 1 nationals was fun. Like, I mean, you got to see, like, we went to Seattle, like, it was fun. We went to Pike City Market, like, we enjoyed every single part of it. And we were just like amazed to be there. And then year 2 nationals, we were still amazed to be there as well, but it was more of an urgent business trip. You know, it really felt like we had unfinished business from last year. And that's, you know, seeing that change, seeing that seriousness, seeing that like that literal mentality of locking in, that was a really, really good change. You know, that was something that inspired me even more to make this film. Like, yeah, this story has to be told, because you can see some of these same guys, they're not the same guys as last year.
I mean, we did, because we had Hans and Kai the first year, and then we replaced them with Brandon and Jordan. So that's 2 huge pieces that we lost, but then plugged right back in with Brandon and Jordan. And I really did like the features of Brandon, Jordan, and then transfer Emily McBride. Like, what was into that? Like, throwing some humor into that. How talk about that.
Those were really like Where's Waldo moments, pretty much. Like, it was like, let's because I know they were Easter eggs. Pretty much. Like, you could see them in like short parts of the films as far as like flashbacks from last year, but it was really to see their growth, you know. And I mean, the main part of that was to see exactly how fast things can change in a year. You know, in this sport, like as fast paced things go, I mean, it's so hard to keep track of everything. So
it really
I mean, relationships, teammates, coaching, like literally everything moves so fast. So at least for me to capture those moments, like seeing, hey, you know, Brandon was on this team, or Jordan was on this team. Now they're with us. But let's look back at how they were when they were going against us. Like, seeing all of that, seeing the growth, that was the main focus of that all. Of course, it was a hilarious blueprint.
It was so funny. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. It was hilarious. So this is a huge project. This is probably your biggest project to date.
Yes.
What is something you learned about yourself during this entire journey?
I learned to have patience with myself. I guess the biggest part of doing like a 2-year-long basically project is that you learn to have patience. You learn that not everything can get done in one night as much as you want it to be done. But I learned to tap into the creative side of myself. You know, I'm usually used to making like 30-second highlight reels or 60-second highlight reels. So anything over a minute for me was just more of like a creative block. Until I got into this documentary, and then it just felt right, you know. I had to really, really tap into the creative side of myself to tell that story. And I guess it helped for me because, I mean, I was an athlete last year. You know, I finished off my COVID year last year. So pretty much the stories that I wish were told, you know, I was inspired to tell those stories with you guys.
Yeah, because I think one of the biggest things is that, like, any social media you look at, whether that's our Instagram page, your page, or maybe the Augusta University athletics page, is that you see the guys and the girls in uniforms. You see them like finishing or like with the trophy or the medals or whatever. You know, you didn't see a whole lot of behind the scenes, and I think that was something that's really interesting because not a lot of people, I guess, knew about just our distance team in general when it comes to just like everyday life in the team.
Right.
And so I think that was something that was really cool to see, and that you got to tell about the entire team on both the men's and the women's side, and really picking Coach's brain, because when I was watching it, I was like thinking like, wow, like Coach has got a lot of brain picking in here, and I think that's really, really cool to see that entire process kind of fold out. Yeah,
like I think that you hit it right on the nail, honestly. Like I love telling stories, you know. So that's why this story really, really, it meant a lot to me. It was really special because especially as an athlete, not even just being biased, but like I like to tell the stories of the people that you see every day. Because I mean, everybody's going through something different,
Right.
but we're all human. So for me to show that human side of the athlete, it really meant a lot.
Yeah. So you've spent a lot of time with this distance team. You've spent a lot of time. You probably all know our social security numbers by this point. So what is something you learned about the men's distance team after watching them and spending so much time with us?
I learned that there's so much more to them than just the school records that can be broken, or just like the practices that I see or that I did see when I was, running with you guys, or whenever we had like joint practices. I learned that everybody has a different personality and everybody has a different talent as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, the viewpoints like are very, very, very interesting. Like it's a way that each individual is thought-provoking in their own different way.
Yeah.
I mean, like how you would think of one person, you would never thought that this person is interested in camera work, or that this person plays the guitar, or or that other person just they just love spending their weekends just relaxing in the sun all day long. Like you would have never known unless you spent that time with them. So I got to learn really much about who you guys are as far as athletes, but a lot more about who you guys are outside of being athletes.
Yeah. And talk about just, I guess, even the athletic department just stepping in and being able to help you so much, get you to these national championships and these regional meets and stuff.
Oh yeah,
talk about, just because it's part of it, and we were so grateful to have you out there.
Yeah.
Talk about like just how it felt to have that helping hand.
The athletic department has been an integral part of this documentary. I will say that I most likely would not have gotten it done if it had not been for them. Especially Ryan Erlacher. Like he's been a really, really big help. It's crazy because he's always been supporting me for years now. Even before I went to Augusta University, he was my athletic director.
That's right.
Back in my alma mater. So when he came here, like I already knew that anything I needed help with, like he would be able to help me. I didn't even know how it would get done, but Ryan is the guy that you go to first, not even last, because he's always willing to help. He's a guy of service. And not even just him too, Jacob Bergamy. He's been really, really helpful as far as not even just getting what I need physically, but making sure that I'm just not burnt out mentally. There would be times where I would just be editing. He's like, hey, if you need to take a break, that's fine. There's no rush on this at all. Trust me, everybody appreciates what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, we were all super excited. We were like, man, we can't wait to see this one. But we also were like, this is gonna be a lot of footage. We saw how much you had that camera out. You were shooting anything and everything you could.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy to be a part of too. And I remember watching it, I was like, I don't even remember like this being filmed. I don't even remember him. He had the camera out during this moment. Like, it's crazy how much you were just working in like a ninja. I guess that's the best way I can put it. So how has this project helped you grow as a content creator? You've kind of mentioned before, you were working on reels and stuff, and then maybe like a short film, and you made like a short little film for the national guys that went out to Seattle.
Yeah.
And that was great. That was even awesome in itself. And we were like, I can't even imagine what this actual documentary is going to look like. How does this help change you and benefit you for the future?
It's helped me to, well, first off, to brand myself a lot better than I was a year ago. Mm-hmm. But more importantly, it's helped me to build those relationships. I think that as much as we like to be content creators, we love to be supported content creators. So that outburst of support that I've gotten from everyone, from not even just the cross country team, but from every single team. The basketball teams, volleyball, baseball, softball, the whole athletic department, and a lot of people inside the comms department as well. A lot of people like from the Augusta community. It's been really, really meaningful. So it's helped me grow in the sense of knowing that I don't have to do everything by myself, that I always have support wherever I go, and that I should be able to lean on that when I need to.
That's really awesome. That's really great to hear because I know that everybody loves, your content and stuff. So my second to last question is, it featured in the Maxwell Theater.
Yes.
It's out on YouTube.
It is.
Where can they find it on YouTube?
So you can find it on the Southside Shutters P&V page on YouTube. You could type that name in and it will be the first video that pops up there. You can also just type in Unranked, The Road to Nationals. You could Google it, or you could just type it in on YouTube and it will show up.
Awesome. Because I know that like once it was on YouTube, I sent it to my entire family because they wanted to watch it. So my last question for you is, at the end of the documentary, you foreshadowed where National was next year.
Yes.
You foreshadowed that in a phenomenal way. It was great. It was a perfect way to cap it off.
Thanks.
So what's next? Is there any big projects you want to tease? Are you taking a step back right now and you're just going to kind of enjoy what you've just done and maybe think like what's going on inside of your head?
I think after 2 years, part of me is just relieved to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part of me is just very, very eager to get back to work. I'm taking the next couple of weeks, probably a couple of months to decide which part of that, wins.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be really, really interesting what the outcome is.
Yeah. It's going to be, I'm excited for you. I'm excited. I know everybody else is, but it was something else to see. And I guess I should say thank you for following us and showcasing us and making us look good on camera.
Oh, I've got to say thank you guys, man. You guys are the real stars. You make it all the more easy.
Well, we really appreciate that. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Say It With Your Chest. Say It With Your Chest is produced by Patrick Motes and Jack Koscho and edited by Kenzie McDaniel. Say It With Your Chest is part of the Commcats podcast network at Augusta University. The ideas and opinions expressed during this podcast are those of the students enrolled in Com 3340, podcasting and audio production, and do not reflect those of Augusta University. Thank you so much again for listening. We're out.